All right, we will give it another minute and 30 seconds and we'll get this thing going because I know I was on Realtor Time. I assume there's a couple other people on Realtor Time, but we are going to talk about the ultimate listing consult, which I'm pretty excited about. We will dive into some different things. So super appreciate you guys all being here. Awesome. Let's get this thing started. I think we're recording. I didn't record a class yesterday and I blame Elizabeth, but I don't need to get in trouble twice. So awesome, guys. Let's talk about the ultimate listing consultation. And I think there's big importance around this thing. What we do know is this. What we know is that the market has changed. This is in 2021, and obviously we're in 2023, and we're going into 2024. Right? We're 30 days ish. We're 1 month until we're getting into the new year. And this is what I think is important as we're showing up as professionals and we're showing up to be the real estate economists of choice and to actually win the business. We need to be doing things. And I want everyone to think of this. Think of everything you're doing. You are on a stage, you are doing a performance, and you're going out there because there are other people that you're going to be competing with in most situations. In most situations, there are other agents that are competing for the same business that you are. And so we can't be super vanilla. And what I mean by that is if we're going through and we're like, hey, I'll list your house, I'll put it on the MLS, I'm going to put some signs in the yard, and that I am going to pray that someone actually comes and buy your house, right? Because we've been seeing some things. We've been seeing different things around the market. We know that interest rates are higher than they were back in 2021, where money was free. We know that there's different marketing strategies. We know that there is different things that actually need to happen to make the deal come together. And so we need to differentiate ourselves between us and the other agent. So let's start off with this, right? Let's talk about what's the point, right? A listing presentation is a formal meeting between a real estate agent and a potential seller with where the agent is actually presenting their services, their expertise, research, their marketing plan, all to sell the home. That is the only reason why you haven't been invited to the dining room table, is to show how you're going to get this home sold for the most amount of money in the least amount of time with as least friction as possible, right? Like that's all we are doing. So the goal is to get them to sign at the table, right? Like that is the ultimate goal. I can't stress this enough, guys. Like the ultimate goal is to get them to sign at the table. That you have presented enough stuff, that you have shown enough value where they feel comfortable to not pick up the phone and to take another interview, and for them to either cancel or for them to actually give you the power to cancel. Like that's probably the most fun, is when you're going through and you're having a conversation and they say, well, hey, I'm interviewing two other agents. You say, hey, that's no problem. If you want, I'll call those other two agents right now and just let them know that they don't need to come to the appointment, because I have you taken care of. That's what we can look at. That's how we can do some different things. So this is what we're going to talk about today. This is what I think is in the ultimate listing consultation. We're going to talk about the client's needs. We're going to talk about the process, the meet the team. We're going to talk about the competition. We're going to talk about the media plan. We're going to talk about your mission and the promise. And I'm going to give you guys at the very end of this two bonus scripts that I think that you guys will find helpful to use in your conversations. So the very first page of the ultimate listing consultation, after you get through like, hey, this is my name, this is my phone number, my email, how you can reach me, it's like the importance for what the clients, right? Your clients need first. The goal of the listing presentation is to show your clients how you'll sell their home and perform better than the other agent. And with that being said, you need to know what's important to them. All right. So as you're going through, we need to know, like, why are you selling your house? What's the date that you need to move? What are your plans if the home doesn't sell? Where are you looking to move to? Where are there any current issues with your homes that need to be addressed? And how much money do you still owe on your mortgage? This is where we're going to do a couple things. This is what we don't know. What we don't know is if it is a timing or is it a price discussion, right? We're sitting down with this person for the first time. We don't know if they need to be located in a location because they are moving to either be closer to grandkids or if they are getting a new job and they have to be situated in the next 30 days. Or is it, hey, we're going to sell and I need the most amount of money? This is what's important. We need to know what their priorities are. So before we even go through, we talk about how awesome we are and what those other agents don't do that live over there. We need to know what's important to the client. So, tell me why you're selling your house. Awesome. What's important about that to you? Got it. When do you need to be there by? Well, if your home doesn't sell, what's your plan B? Right, we're going through. What do I need? What do your home need to sell for? $500,000. What's important about that to you? Well, I'm going to be able to pay off the bills. So I'm going to be able to move. Where are you moving to? Well, I'm moving to the East Coast. What's important about that? Well, I'm going to be closer to my kids. Great. What happens if you aren't able to sell your house? Well, guys, and we're doing all this thing because this is the thing. Logic makes people think, and emotion makes people act. So as we're going through this logic and we're going through all these things, then I can regurgitate this information. At the very end of my presentation, I can say, so does it make sense to sign this agreement so that I can get your home on the market and sold in a timely fashion so that you can get to the East Coast so you can be closer to your family? Who wants to say no to themselves, right? Like if you're going through and you're doing these different things, like I'm not going through and saying this is me, this is why, this is no. I just went through and I tied everything that I am doing back to the seller. This is about them. This isn't about me. Anything and everything that I do is for you. This is very important, guys. Before you do anything, you need to know your audience. Go through and just do this. Figure this out. What's important? Where are you going? What happens? Is there anything that needs to go on with the house? And let them tell you. Like they're going to go through, oh, hey, we've been meeting to get to this. Awesome. Well, that's going to help me as well. Like if they say like, oh, there's been this issue, then I know that that's a conversation that I can have, or I can actually go back to it when the inspection process comes up and the inspection item lists something and be like, hey, and I know that you knew about this because we actually talked about it in the listing consult the first day. This is why this is important. The second thing that we're going to do, guys, is let's just describe the process to them. Well, I know that we're all professionals here and that we know what the process to buying and selling is. The one thing that I do know for the most part is that the people that are selling this house, they've probably only ever been a buyer. Now they could have inherited this home. This could have, been a family home that they've lived in and they've inherited it, or maybe they weren't the decision maker at the time. But let's just assume that they've only bought a house and they've never sold it. And let's go through and let's walk them through the process. Like, okay, this is where we are today. We're doing this meeting. We're going to walk through the house. We're going to go figure out like what everything that you need. We're going to go through, we're going to sign a listing agreement. I'm going to go through and I'm going to get your house ready to be staged. And guys, this is a staging conversation. The staging conversation is where we're going to go through and we're just going to let them know like maybe what needs to happen so the pictures look good. I don't want you guys to get wrapped up in your head that you need to have a staging warehouse because you don't. At the end of the day, it's decluttering, it's turning windows, or I was going to say it's turning windows on, right? It's opening blinds, making sure the lights are on. It's making sure that the bathtub doesn't have all the weird stuff, right? Like they don't have like the soap and everything like hanging down, We're going making the beds are made, different things. You're going to go through. I've had clients where they've had a full wall of like religious items, and you're like, hey, I super appreciate all this stuff, but we want to go through and let's start getting packed up, right? Let's start getting some of these things packed up. It would really suck if one of these things got broken during the open houses, right? We're going through, we're letting them know so that they can start picking some things up and it's decluttering. So we're going through and this is what we're helping them with. Then what we're going to do, we're going to get the marketing campaign going. We're going to figure out what the competitive price is the day before we go on. Yes, like we're going to agree to a price, but we don't know. Like something could happen the day before, and then that's the competition. We're going to officially launch the property on the market. We're going to go through. We're going to do the marketing campaign. I'm going to do some Facebook ads for you. I'm going to do some different things. I'm going to make sure like I have a brokerage of some of the most productive agents in the area. There's 156 of us in here. And I'm going to make sure that they all know about this listing so they can get that information out to their clients, right? We're going to go through this whole process step by step. And here's a bonus tip, guys. And I've seen this, which is kind of neat. And typically you would do this on like a for sale by owner so that they actually see what's going on. But you can actually go through and just have like a stack. And this is not doing it any justice, but our contracts are lengthy in Colorado, right? What does it look like to have the stack of all the contracts through the listing process and the contract to buy and sell and the closing process so that your client can actually see like everything that goes through and they're like, hey, and I'm going to make sure that all this is getting taken care of, and just having that so they know that this is a big process, but you have their back. To meet the team, I think it's important to showcase your team. When we're going through and we're showcasing the team, it is your vendors, right? Like, who is your insurance guy? Who is your lender? Who is your insert whatever here? Your electrician, your handyman, your general contractor. Having all these people here, I don't think that you need to have their phone numbers. You don't need to have their contact information, but you need to show and then let them know what the importance about this is, right? If we're going through and we're letting these people know that, hey, I just want to let you know that during these inspection processes, at times we can see a pretty lengthy list. And while we know that there's nothing wrong on the outside of your house because we can see it, when they hire an inspector, because an inspection is a part of this process, they might uncover something that isn't seen to the naked eye. But I want you to let you know that I have you covered. I actually have this team. I have an electrician, I have a handyman, I have this person. So these people, I know that we're going to be able to get in front of the house. Here's the radon guy. Going through and just being able to do this, I show that stack of contracts and let them know, hey, you know the stack of contracts that I'm just talking about? I actually pay someone, my transaction coordinator, to make sure that none of these papers get missed. They're going to make sure that if they need to hunt down the other party and the other party isn't signing some paperwork or they're taking a little bit longer, they're going to make sure that everything gets signed and delivered, and so that we're compliant with the state of Colorado, that no paperwork is held up, so that we can have a smooth closing and that we can make sure that we get closed on time so that you can be on the East Coast with your family. Insert this time here. This is important, guys. And again, we're always going to go back to their previous motivations. Hey, I was listening. Hey, this is everything that I'm doing. I am driving to get that end result for you. So go through with you guys. This is what I think about. Have your lenders in there. Have your photography company, right? And be showing this down. This is the thing. I want you guys to realize that there are real estate agents out there taking cell phone photos. There are real estate agents out there that are going online and not in our closed group, because I don't want you guys to think that I'm passing any judgment to the closed group, but they're going on national forums or state forums and saying, hey, does anybody have a insert whatever here? I literally saw a managing broker today on Facebook say, hey, does anybody have, and I can't remember the contractor, I think it was an electrician. Hey, does anybody have an electrician that they would recommend? A managing broker at another broker just putting this out on social media. And I don't think that it was a ploy to get referrals for people. I really don't think that they had one. So I need you guys to know that there are agents out there that don't have this, and this is how you're going to separate yourself from that competition. Here are my people. This is why I have these people. This is how they're going to help you. Going through and have them all. I think it could be important to have your put the team in there, right? Like on the meet the team, you might want to put the brokerage, right? You might want to let them know that the brokerage is here as well. Like I have a team of 156 agents that are around me that have hundreds of years of experience between all of us. And so if something does come up that is new to me and I don't have the information, I have a team to lean on, and we're going to make sure that we get this thing closed. Meet the team is a big one, guys. I would go through and I would start building this list. And guess what? Like right now, we're in the season of renewal where we can go through. And if I don't have this team, it is okay to start reaching out and to start building this and to start pouring into people and build your team. We are 1 month away from 2024. Let's all commit to at least doing this process and making phone calls. And as we're having conversations and letting just our people know that as we're reaching out to them, hey, do you know anyone that I should know that's a small business owner or that is in the real estate industry that I should give a phone call to, and do these different things? Then the competition, guys, and the competition is the client's competition. Go to the open house, or I'm sorry, go to the dining room table, go to this appointment with the client's competition. Let them know how many homes are in the area and what they're sold for. Go in, let them know how many houses are in the area and that are sitting on the market. You need to know this data. This is what I would say. If you're competing against other agents, especially if you're competing against other agents, you need to go in with some information. And so you can either go through and have it inside your listing presentation or prepare a CMA on the side with this information. And yes, the CMA isn't going to be 100%, but it should be close. I understand that they could get into the house and you could actually find out that the seller did an upgrade, that the seller, has some damage somewhere. But go in knowing the price, that if it was like these other houses, this is the price. I see agents lose deals because they go through and they say, "Hey, now that I saw your house, I'll be able to go back and get you, a price. Here's your range that you have." Don't give them a range, guys. Say, "This is your price. Like this is your price." And hey, based off of this, now what I'm seeing is maybe we go $5,000 less. Maybe we're getting $15,000 more. This is the number that I knew walking in, thinking that your house was apples to apples versus the other competition. And then we can go through, and if we're showing the competition and we can see that this house has been sitting on the market for 133 days, this house has been sitting on the market for 200 days, because guys, guess what? That's very real in this market. There are homes that are sitting for months. And so the seller says, well, hey, I saw that my neighbor's house is on Zillow for X amount of dollars. And you're like, yes, they've been X amount of dollars for 4 months now. So is it important to get the most amount of money and we put it on the market for that price and then we just see whose house sells first? Or do we want to come up a little bit lower and make sure that your house is in the spotlight so that you can be on the East Coast with your family in 30 days to celebrate the holidays? Going back to the motivations again, guys, because it's either money or there's a timeline and we need to figure out what it is. Go through, make sure you know this. It says what homes have sold recently, the school ratings. Like I get that, like that might be an area that you might be uncomfortable with, but I would say that we might need to know a little bit about the crime rate in the area. Let's be a little bit familiar with it. This is the stuff that you need to know. It's going to make you the area expert, because you don't want to come across and have this conversation with someone and then someone walks in and they say, hey, I've actually lived in the area for this amount of time, here's all the information. Or that someone comes in and they've done all the research and they come up with the research, the expert. Know this info. Go in to the appointment knowing what you're going to list the house for, and there might be a variable that's going to change the dollar, but do not give them this range. I'm telling you, if you're going in with a range and everything else isn't on point, this is what's going to lose you that deal right here. Then the media plan, guys, and this is where it gets special, right? We get to go through and we get to say, this is how I'm going to get your home sold. Other agents out there, they do the three P's, right? They place it on the MLS, they put a sign in the yard, and they pray that the home sells. Well, I go through and I do the fourth P, and I proactively prospect clients to get your house sold. And this is my strategy. This is the strategy that I have to get you the most amount of money in the least amount of time with as minimal friction as possible. I have an open house strategy. Here it is. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go door knocking. I'm going to have high quality professional photos. Again, guys, like these are things that you think that every real estate agent does, and they don't. There are agents that don't door knock. There are agents that don't do open houses. There are agents that don't take professional photos, like they take them with their cell phone. They don't do open houses. They literally go through, they get the contract, and they just wait for their phones to ring. And you can't do that in this market anymore. Like I get that you get away with that laziness in 2021. You absolutely could have. In 2021, homes were selling very quickly, but money was free. And so there was a lot of pent up demand. And now we have an affordability issue. We have less buyers jumping into the market. And so we have to firstly show why we are the agent of choice for this client, and then detail why it's important. We're going through our strategic promotion. Like this is my come and sue campaign. I'm gonna run some Facebook ads. I'm gonna do some postcards. I'm gonna do some door knocking. When it's just listed, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna syndicate this home out to over 500 different websites. It's going to be on the Denver Post. It's going to be on Zillow.com. It's going to be on Realtor. It's going to be, if you Google your house, it's going to show up. And let them know this. Let them know where buyers come from. We know that most buyers come from the internet these days. And you have a subscription called HubSpot, and HubSpot syndicates out to over 500 real estate portals. You are going to get a lot of attention. And not only are you going to get attention on there, but you're actually going to put it on Facebook. And on top of that, we know that the next place it actually comes from real estate agents. I have a brokerage of 156 agents that I have a conversation with on a weekly. We have a weekly mastermind. Every Monday we come together and we talk about listings that are coming up. I'm going to make sure that every one of those agents knows that your home is going to be available on the market next week. And with that being said, if they have any clients that this makes sense for, they're going to make sure to tell those clients. Guys, going through and telling the story of why they should choose you as their real estate agent is huge. Go through, I'm doing virtual tours. Am I doing HD photography, 3D floor plans, social media posts? Am I doing a property video? Going through and advertising the different platforms of social media, like you're going to know, like, hey, I'm going to put this on Facebook. I'm going to put this on Instagram. I'm going to go through, maybe you're doing YouTube, like maybe you're doing home tours on YouTube and you're going to throw it on YouTube. Maybe you're doing something on Twitter, like showing them everything that you are doing is going to set you apart from the competition. Again, I'm telling you, and I say this tongue in cheek, but agents place the sign in the yard, put on the MLS, and they pray that the home sells. Like that's very, very real. And now you're going to show the proactive piece that you're doing with this, your media plan, and going through and showing them. And this is the thing. If you've already done some of these things, bring the literature, show them your flyers, right? Here are my flyers that I'm doing. Here's the social media graphics that are going out. Here's the video. Like if you're doing everything and this is on on an iPad and you're just flipping through, what does it look like to have the home tour videos? What does it look like to have some interactive links that you can actually click on and say, here's the 3D tour that I did of the house? And they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. All right, here's the drone video that I did, and you're showing them all these different things that you did. Here's the website, right? Here's the actual 123 Main Street website that I'm going to create for you, and I'm going to drive traffic to it. We are going to find you the perfect buyer for your home. Important as well, guys, going through showing them the media plan. Then as we're going through, I think it's very important for the mission and the promise, right? So you're going in here and you're letting them know what your promise is to them, right? Like, hey, it's going through the community. It is making sure that I'm getting you the most amount of money. in the least amount of time in the most frictionless possible transaction. Going through and you're living into these things. And I would also probably encourage you guys to put your big why in here, right? Let them know why you are selling, why you are a real estate agent, like what's important, what got you into this business, what drives you every day. These are the different things that we need to go through and we need to execute it at a very high level. It's going to bring you an emotional proximity to these people. So as I'm going through here and I'm doing all these different things, I'm going to let them know that, hey, I got into this business because I have a love for homeschool. I saw HGTV and, I fell in love with Chip and Joanna Gaines, whatever, right? And what drives me and gets me out of bed every day is that I do this for the love of my family, for the community, for whatever. Just live, and you're going to create this emotional proximity that is going to get closer to them and it's going to bring them closer into you and solidify that relationship. Also, guys, like I said, the whole purpose of you being here is do a one-time close. Like I know that there's agents out there, and I say that it's very dangerous to do a two-part close, right? A two-part close is very, very hard to execute because you're putting it in the other agent's hands to drop the ball. So as I'm going through and I'm having this conversation, I let them know everything, right? I went through, here's how we're going to market the property. I'm bringing it back home to why they're moving. I'm showing them my team, like, why is it advantageous for them to use me? And I'm bringing in the exclusive right to sell so that I can get a wet signature, right? I'm probably going in because, again, and this is going to change, right? If I have a relationship, like if this is a buddy from high school that I know isn't going to go anywhere else, if this is like a family member that I know isn't going to go anywhere else, cool, two-part close. Let me leave and let me send this to you. If they say, hey, I'm not interviewing any other brokers, cool, like I'll send it to you. But if there's competition, you guys need to assume the close, right? You need to assume that you did everything and these people called you because they want you to list their house today. So I'm bringing out the exclusive right and I'm walking through this stuff with them. And again, like, what is worse, that you go through this and like you feel like you wasted your time or didn't go anywhere, or for you to actually find out the next day that they listed with another agent because the other agent asked for the business? You need to be assuming that it's yours and ask for the business. Go through the exclusive right, get this thing under contract with them. And again, like this is one of those things that we're going through and we're showing them the importance of it. This is a promise. This is an agreement between both parties that they are going to hire you as their agent and trust you to get the home sold, and what you're going to do exactly for them to make sure that this process is smooth and that you are a fiduciary. So that's the conversation that we need to be having, guys, because I think there's a lot of people on this call that are, I think they're worried. I think that they're worried about giving this contract because they don't want people to feel like they're pushy or that they're locking them into something. First and foremost, put a provision in there that says like, hey, if I suck or you think that I suck, you can fire me. Right? Like that's the first and foremost, like put that provision in there. No one's gonna judge you for that. Like I see big teams do that all the time where they say, here's our guarantee to service. And at any time that you feel like we're not doing our job, you let us know. We will rip up this contract and highlight that. Be like, hey, I just want to let you know that I am not locking you into a contract. If you think I'm not doing my job, fire me and there will be no questions asked. Now, there's also a provision in there that says, hey, if we're under contract, or if I showed you a property, you're gonna pay me. Like that's gonna be in there as well. But put that in there. Then you're going to go through and you're going to show the agency side of things. Like, I never want to be a transaction broker. I think a transaction broker is a very hard process to be a part of. So I want to be an agent, and I'm showing them the fiduciary responsibilities that I have to them: utmost good faith and fidelity. I am putting your interest above my own, and I am going to fight for you, right? And you were showing them these things, and this is why you want me, because I can actually get to work for you today and fight for you and your interest. So we're going through, and guys, and that's the presentation. Like that is everything that we're doing, that we're going through, and we're showing them. Now, I have two scripts here for you guys, two objection handlers. And I think both of these are important because I think that both of these find their way into the conversation. So here's the first one. And tell me if you guys have heard this one. This is the pricing objection handler. Another agent said they can get me much more, right? Like we hear this, right? Some other agent came in and they said, "Hey, I can get you $700,000." And this is what the objection handler looks like. Hey, I could line up 1,000 agents outside your door, but we've all been looking at the same data and we're all coming in within, 1 or 2% of one another. So if someone's promising you much more than that, you've got to ask yourself, what are they up to? Are they just wanting to take your listing to generate a bunch of buyers? Like, what do you think their motivation is? What's their motive? Guys, you are planting doubt about that agent at that point. And we all know this is true. There's no world. Like if we're all looking at the same data, and if some other agent has said they can get them $50,000 more, $75,000 more, we know that's garbage and we can't fight that, right? Like we know that if we come across and say, "Oh no, that agent's wrong, that agent's lying," well, they're going to think that we're doing that because we're looking at a commission and we're doing whatever we can to poison the well. So instead, we have to reframe it. Firstly, let them know that the data says, and that what you have seen historically is that we're all looking at the same numbers. And so if we're all looking at the same numbers and we're doing those off of comparables and recent sales in the area, and we're within 1 to 2% of each other, what do you think the motive of that other agent is to say that he can get you $70,000 more than what I've told you today? And go through, guys, and do this. And this is going to just plant some doubt in their head, and they're going to walk through it. Logic makes them think, emotion makes them act. So this is your first one. The second one, this one's kind of fun. All right. So you guys are going to get asked what your commission is. All right. So they're going to say, "What is your commission?" Before I go down this road. All right. All of our agents on this call. Good. So if we're going through and someone says, "Hey, what is your commission?" Well, my commission's lower than everybody else's. And the seller's like, "Well, what does that mean?" Well, normally my commission is 6%. And if you find anybody lower, let me know. Cool. Now you are in the driver's seat. You didn't say, "Hey, I'll do it for 3%. You didn't say, "I'll do it for 2.5%. You didn't say anything. And the only reason why I'm using this script is if I know that I'm going up against other agents or if I'm not getting the deal today. All right. If this is someone that I have a relationship with, they know me, I've done deals with them, I'm the only person that they're interviewing, I'm sticking with my commission. My commission is what it is. And if I have some kind of deal or some pricing structure that I use, rock and roll. Like if you're a friends and family discount, like I do a friends and family discount of people that I do multiple deals with, like they get a percentage that I do strictly for them. And I let them know what that is. I say, "Hey, I'm giving you all my friends and family. Like this is what it is, but stick to your numbers." So this is what this looks like. They say, "Hey, what's your commission?" "Hey, my commission is lower than everybody else's." Like, well, what does that mean? Well, normally it's 6%. And if you find anybody lower, just let me know. Cool. So then they go and they interview the other agents. And the other agent that they interview says that they could do it for 5. All right. So the other agent says they could do it for 5%. And then they say thank you because they like your marketing plan. Guess what? Your marketing plan was better than theirs. You showed everything. The only thing that was attractive about that other agent was that they said 5% that they wanted to use you. So they give you a call back and they say, "Hey, the other agent said that they could do 5%. You said, awesome, I'll do it at 4.9. You want me to send over the paperwork?" Guys, like that's it. They're getting 4.9 versus 5%. They're going to rock and roll. They're going to take it. They're going to be okay with that. You don't have to go all the way down to 4.5. You don't have to go to 3%, 4.9. There is nothing wrong with this process. And with that being said, would you want to go in the driver's seat and let them know that, "Hey, my commission is cheaper than everybody else's"? They come at you at 5%. You take the listing at 4.9%. Or would you be okay looking at the MLS, knowing that some other agent took it and all it was a percentage point difference, right? Like they went in at 5, you just had to jump in at 4.9. Yes, you started at 6. They said 5. You undercut them and you went to 4.9%. I like this strategy, right? I think this strategy is fun. I think this strategy keeps you in the conversation. I think it keeps you in the driver's seat. And we're talking that it's only going to save them a couple $100. You're only going to not lose a couple $100. Like you just made thousands of dollars because you did not lose this deal over a percentage. Yeah, Lee, like I like this too. Like this is a solid one. So it keeps you in the driver's seat. Hey, my commission is lower than everybody else. They're going to be taken off. What does that mean? They're going to be taken back by it. Well, normally it's 6%. And if you find anybody lower, let me know. You're not even committing to it because this is the thing. We all know this. There's a company out there that is a color and a body part of a fish, right? And you guys are all thinking, like, what in the world is Charles talking about, right? Where they're saying, like, hey, we'll list your house for 1%. Well, that's true. They will list the house for 1%, but you also have to buy with them, and they want their competitive rate at 2.8%. So they're really getting it at 4.8 in the grand scheme of things. And I'm not saying that I want you guys to undercut 1%, but you do need to have the conversation, right? Like I'm probably having a conversation to feel like and to see, okay, awesome. So if that 1% company, are you moving into Colorado? Are you buying a house, right? Because then we can repackage some things and maybe do some rebates along the road to where you're not rebating at all on the sell side, but you're doing something on the buy side when you get that deal as well. And I'm also not saying I will beat it, right? I'm saying let me know. Like you might get to a point where someone's like, I'll list your house for $500. Firstly, no one on this call wants a deal at $500. Nobody. You do not want that headache. That is a headache that you do not want anything to do with. And so I'm not letting them know that if someone's lower than me, I'll beat it. I'm just saying, hey, if someone comes in, lower than 6%, let me know. Then they call you and say, hey, 5%. They call you and say $500. Like, hey, I can't do $500. What's important? Like, what are they doing for you at $500? And they probably don't have the same marketing plan. They probably do whatever. But again, guys, like if someone's trying to haggle you and get you all the way down, you don't want that deal in your life. I promise you. So going through and we're doing all these different things. I just want you guys to know, like, as we were looking through all of these different slides, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm going in here. Most all this stuff, guys, all of these slides are in command, right? Everything that I just went through. And yes, I'm having the cover letter. Like I didn't talk about the cover letter. I didn't talk about putting the client's name on here, but yes, I think you should keep it personalized. Also, I think you should have a couple in your car. Like, do I have a game plan for a first time home seller? Do I have a game plan for someone that is right sizing? Like, do you have a special moving company that specializes in senior citizens? Right? Like you're thinking about these things. Do I have a moving company that specializes in long distance moves? Do I have a company that specializes in local? Hey, this is a local moving company that I trust that does all my deals in Colorado, right? But if I'm doing something and I get the phone call and I'm able to prep for this thing, like, cool, have the cover letter that actually has your client's name on it. Have some stuff about like here's the table of contents. You're going through here a little bit about their home. Yeah, like all this is important. But what's more important is that we got to show that we did some research, that we know some different things, that here's the process. We need to be educating them. That we're going through and we're letting them know what the marketing plan looks like and all of the other things that are going into how you market the plan. Maybe you're putting some reviews in here, right? Like you're letting them know, like, here are my reviews. This is what so-and-so said about me. This is the thing. If you're a new agent and you're like, I don't have any clients, there are still people that like you and they would trust you with their lives, right? And so they can still write a review about you. They're just not going to say that, hey, so and so did such a great job that they sold my house in 30 days and they got me 15% over listing. And I would always use them, but they could write something about your character and how they believe in you, right? Like that's what it looks like. There's your promise. You're going through, you're putting your promise in there, the bottom line, and then you're ending with the cover letter. And this is the thing. You want to leave these things even if you don't get it signed there, you want to leave it with them because it's a conversational piece, right? It's there. It's a tangible thing that is in their hand that's either on their coffee table or whatever, and it has your information on it. Now, I think there's some follow-ups, right? Like You could be doing a follow-up the day after with a video email of how you appreciate the conversation with them and how you're looking forward to doing some things, right? You need to be doing other things, to be touching and to reaching out and to be building these relationships and cementing the relationships with these people. But again, this conversation that I just went through, the only slide that's not in there is the meet the team. The meet the team is the only one that is not currently in command. And just so that you guys know, there was probably like 30 other pages and I deleted 10 of them because I didn't think that they were necessary for this. But you could also go through, and if you're an experienced agent or you're on a team, you can put the information about the team, like, hey, we've been a team for X amount of years. We sold X amount of properties. This is my average days on market. This is how much more I get homes sold for. And you're going to find yourself in some of those competitions where the agent that you're competing with, like, they might have some of that experience. If you're a newer agent, lean on the brokerage. Like, we have some pretty impressive stats at the brokerage that you can lean on the brokerage numbers as well, to where you can say, hey, my brokerage sells, $211 million year to date, primarily in the Denver metro. Like, you can actually go through those numbers and put it in there. Can we use past open houses that we actually posted pictures in our marketing material instead of the random picks? I think you could. I would just make sure that it's okay with the listing agent. Like, if you're not going to go put it out and doing some other things, like, what you can't do is this, and this is where it gets kind of weirdly, is that you're talking about, like, can we use past open houses? Like, if you took the photo, well, firstly, it's a cell phone photo and you need a font and you can't do that. If you're using a photo from an open house that an agent paid money to do, you need to get permission from that agent, because that agent owns those intellectual rights. And so you might want to reach out and ask them, hey, would it be okay if I use this photo and I'm going to use it in my listing presentation? They may be okay with it. They might not be okay with it. I would almost use random pictures in my listing presentation. And then as you're doing things and you're getting business, that's probably when I'm actually showing, like, my stuff that I paid for to use. Also, Virtuins. If you're using Virtuins or some of these other companies, you can actually show the photos that they have. And there's nothing wrong with that. They've actually taken the photos and they'll show you, like, this is what some agents do, and this is what a cell phone photo looks like, and this is what my photos are going to look like. And you're okay to use that with Virtuenthas and some of these other companies. That's actually probably a better plan than using an agent's listing. Awesome. You're welcome. So you're going through, guys, and this is where it gets important, right? This you're on a show, right? You're on a stage, you are out here and you are competing for the business, right? This is what we're doing. We are going through and we are making sure that we are differentiating ourselves from someone else. This is what's going to help you. It's going to give you a timeline. We know that people learn different ways. We know that there's auditory learners. We know there's visual learners. We know there's visuals that actually are learners that actually have to have it in their hands. This is going to cover everything. And you don't know what their love language is. Maybe they're excited about the marketing. Maybe they're excited about the personal connection that you created with them. Maybe they're excited with insert any of this that you did research. Maybe they're an analytical person. Like, this is going to touch everything in this list and is going to help you get closer to proximity with this person when they're looking to transact business. And again, we're looking to get the deal signed today. I don't want you guys to be two-part closers. Being a two-part closer is hard. You're leaving too many variables up in the air to where the deal could disappear. And trust me, like, it's happening. And guys, I can tell you this. This is important. I can tell you that I've done listing presentations where I've gone heavy on marketing because I'm excited about the marketing piece, and I go heavy on it. I show them how I'm going to do social media ads. I show them the photos that we do. I go, this is a cell phone photo, which some agents do, which I don't do. I have a professional team and we take photos. I do all of that. 3-4 years ago, I think it was longer than that. I think it was 2017. And I went to go compete on a listing. I have no relationship with the seller. And I'm talking to Margaret. Margaret was my coach at the time. And Margaret was actually going to interview as well. So cool. It's me, it's Margaret, and some other random person that is competing for this listing. So all three of us we're all doing our own thing, right? Like I'm going heavy on marketing. I don't know what Margaret's looks like. And even the other agent, I have no clue what the other agent's doing. And this is why I'm stressing the importance of going through everything, even though you think that it is just standard. So go through everything. And I think I have this in the bag. This lady, we were there for like an hour and a half. We were having conversations. Everything looked great. I think I was the second one. I think the Margaret was number one. I was number two. The other agent was number three. And I'm thinking to myself, I know I beat Margaret. And now I got to know that I beat the other agent. And so the next day, right, the other agent was, I think, coming in after me, or maybe it was the next morning. And so I called the seller that afternoon. And I'm just like, two-part close. Again, guys, this is a two-part close. That's why I'm saying this is dangerous. And so I called the seller and I say, hey, Mrs. Seller, just wanted to see, if you had any other questions for me and, when you wanted to get together, maybe do some paperwork. And she says, hey, Charles, I super appreciate everything that you showed me. Everything that you're doing looks great. And the other agent that I just interviewed is doing all the other things that you're doing as well. But you know what they're doing that you didn't say that you did? They're using an electronic lockbox. And I just feel safer with an electronic lockbox. And I signed with them. Guys, I have an electronic lockbox. I have one. I didn't think it was necessary to talk about it. I didn't think it was necessary to talk about the safety of it. I didn't think it was necessary to do any of that stuff. The other agent beat me because of an electronic lockbox that they actually inserted into their presentation. Now, that's what she told me. I don't know if the agent undercut me in commission, or maybe she was just not trying to hurt my feelings. And I thought I was better than what I really was. Any of those could have been possible. But what she told me was I didn't talk about my electronic lockbox, how she just feels safer knowing the people, the codes change, and no one can just walk back in. Like the way she explained it to me, it sounded like the other agent let her know that it was like it happens all the time that agents just get the codes and like they just walk in the middle of the night when you're sleeping. Like it's how she like really made this scene to me, and how she knew she was safe because of electronic lockbox. So just because you think it's standard practice and you don't think that it is worth mentioning, put it in there, guys. Go through, put it in, have it in your, even if you don't talk about it, have it in that presentation to leave for them. And if they're an analytical person and they're going through this stuff, or maybe they just need to touch it and feel it one more time, the visuals they're going through, they're looking at, they're going to trip over this stuff. They're going to use you because you were setting yourself up different than everybody else. All right, guys, as we wrap this up, want to comments, questions, concerns? Let me know. Like, are you guys in command using this? Have you guys created a Canva listing presentation? Did you go to a third party? Like, what are your guys' thoughts about listing presentations at this point? Like, do we see the importance of them?
Hey, Charles, it's Anita.
Hey, Anita.
Hey, I just want to say thank you so much. This has been like everything I've been wanting in this one presentation.
Good.
And I'm
Hey,
super excited about it. I'm super excited about creating all this. And we've got a big listing that we're trying to get. So I'm going to get busy working on it, and we're going to go get that listing.
absolutely. Like when I start thinking about like you and Dale and going through, and you guys are also putting in the years of experience that you have on the mortgage side of things and the real estate side of things, and how many houses that you sell. Like that's another component that you can add to this that is just going to set you apart from everybody else. So I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm excited for you guys to get this listed.
Thank you. I have one quick question. How quickly can I get this recording? Because I wasn't able to take notes.
I will send you the recording as soon as it gets uploaded.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, you are welcome.
Hey, Charles, I have a quick question. This is Kevin.
Sir.
Hey, when you're putting together your teams, I'm struggling a little bit with referring people I really don't know and
Yeah.
haven't really dealt with. Now, I may have met them, right? I've met some movers as an example. I met them at a DMAR event not very long ago, but I don't know if they're any good or not. I mean, all I've got is really their say that they're good.
Yeah. So I think that's that. I appreciate that question. And, you know, I look at this as like the city work question, right? Where I got to go get 3 bids and I got to make sure, right? And I, I don't like personally to say like, here are my 3 movers and just pick one. Or here are my 3 insurance agents, just pick one. Cause this is the thing. Me personally, when I here are my 3 options, and let's say it's insurance. First and foremost, like what's going to be the difference between the insurance agents in the grand scheme of things, right? Like they all pretty much have the same products. Like there might be something different. Pick the one that you know, like, and trust, and run with it. Now, to the point of your question of like, I don't know enough of these people yet. I would probably maybe just call for references, right? Like that's probably one of the things that I'm going to do is call for references, have some conversations, go look at their Google reviews and have some conversations with them, see who was using them in the office, figure out all these different things to see if you're comfortable enough putting them on this presentation. If you're not, leave them off. Like don't put that person in there yet. But I know that you have contractors that you use. I know that
I
you
do.
will, yeah, like you have those things. Like I get like there's some minimal things that you don't have yet, but with your extensive construction background, like you have more than enough to show your value.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Lala, I think I saw you take yourself off mute as well.
Just want to say thank you. That was very useful. I didn't even know Command has this, so I'm just gonna have to probably go in there and look through it. And then
Yeah.
also about the your team. Does how many people did we need to like mention in one of these presentations? Like I know you said the lender, but
Well,
I
this is
didn't
the
know you
thing.
have to have also contractor.
Yeah. And so we're talking about the listing side of things, right? And so even, and I might mention, lender or something like that, or even insurance agent, and all of our heads go, Charles, that's the buy side of things. Like in the grand scheme of things, that's not on the sell side. But we're going through, and we don't know if these people are also going to be buyers at the same time. Like we're going through this motivational thing to see if they're going to need any of that stuff. And secondly, like we're talking about how with the speed of my team and the speed of my lender, my insurance company, my whatever, if someone does come from the open house that I am going to host, I'm going to advertise to get more traction on your open house. That if someone walks in off the street and they want to write an offer, I just want to let you know that we're going to be able to get them with the right people to get this going smoothly so we don't miss a beat. So we get you on the East Coast so you can be with your family in 30 days, right? Like that's the point of that. But the other thing is really just to show them how you're going to turn this into a frictionless transaction for them. And so like the moving company, and they might have a moving company. The contractor, if there's an issue, the electrician, if there's an issue, the plumber, all these different things. I don't think there's a right number. And with that being said, I don't even think that you need to go through all of them. Like I'm probably not saying this is my mover, this is my electrician, this is my plumber, but I'm having the page to show them and like, hey, I have 1 page, 2 pages of these preferred vendors that I know that if we run into any situation that requires something out of my expertise, I have people, and these people are going to be able to make sure that you get taken care of so that we can do what's important to you, which is get to the East Coast for your family in 30 days, right? Because I'm always just driving everything. All the tools that I have at my disposal is for you so that we can hit your ultimate goal. So I don't think there's the right number. I just think that you want to be able to point to some things and say that I have this. I have a team. I have a transaction coordinator, right? I have like title company, right? That I use. Here's my title company that I use because again, while we know that the title company is the seller's decision, and while we all know title companies and like we all know land title because we walk by them through the brokerage, like we see them. The title company's the seller's decision, but the seller doesn't necessarily know. So all you're doing is providing just vendors. So I'm your Google, essentially, is all that is.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. Awesome, Patty. I'll make sure I get that. Lisa still need to put together a listing presentation and practice everything. Yeah, guys, this is the thing. Practice these things, go through it, because while you might have all of this, I'm not hitting line by line by line by line as I'm doing this. I'm hitting the highlights that speak to me that I think that will resonate with other people as well, but I'm not doing everything. The purpose of this is to leave it for them. So if there's anything that they want to go through, they can hit it and they can look through it. I would have a fairly generic listing consult, and I would have a fairly generic buyer consult, because what you also don't know is when you're going to get the phone call of the just list me, come help me buy. And the buy side's a little bit different, but the listing one, you still might have to compete, even though you get the phone call and you can show up with this. You can take it. If you already have it created, you can email them over it. They can have a digital copy, and you can say, hey, I sent you over my listing consult, or my listing package for you. It should be in your email. And then I'll actually bring a physical copy. But if you want to look it over, if you have any questions about how I market homes to get them sold in the least amount of time for the most amount of money with the least amount of friction to you, it'll all be in that packet, and we'll review it when I come and see you later today. Right? So have these created, and then you'll customize them for people as you go through. So I think that's a great idea, Lee. Get it knocked out, get a buyer, get a listing. And as you're going through and you have some time, you'll curate them specifically to the client and kind of move from there. So perfect, everyone. This video will come out in its normally scheduled time, but then I heard that Anita says, I need this for my listing presentation going on. So Anita, I will send it to you as soon as it gets uploaded. I'll kick it over to you. But hey, guys, I super appreciate every one of you. If there's anything I can do, please let me know. We are 2 days away from December. So have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your month. And let's keep crushing it, everyone. Bye all.